The next project we're going to do is the number guessing. I'm going to create a new project. If I look at my pseudocode, the name of the project I used in the pseudocode is looping dash guess a number. I'm going to take out the word looping and just use guess a number. That will be the name of my project. And then after you create the project, of course, new package. I'll call it guess a number package. A package can have spaces. I took out the spaces and I used camel case, capitalized the first letter of each word. Inside the package you create a class. Again, I'm going to take the name of the project without spaces and append the word class to it. Not a lot of imagination, but at least we're consistent anyway. And we check and see to make sure that the public static void main is checked because we do want it to create a main for us. Click finish. I end up with that. And now I've got my project and my pseudocode together on the screen. It does look a little tight. Inside the main, the first thing I have to do is declare low, high, random number, and guess as integers. I'll do that all on one line. Low, high, random number, and guess. I could do that on 4 lines. It's a little bit better style to do it on one line, I think, because it's a little more compact. It doesn't make the code stretch out as far. When you go to work somewhere, you may find that they require or they prefer variables to be declared a certain way, but this works for us. The next line of pseudocode says print I will think of a number and you will guess it. Now I'm going to copy the text right out of the pseudocode. And then system.out.println paste it in. Less typing for me. I got a squiggle. For some reason there are some extra characters at the end of that line. Clean that up. If you do the copy paste, let me warn you that the quotation marks in Word map into different characters in the Java editor, and you'll get an error. It looks like a quotation mark in Eclipse, but it's not. It maps into something else. Therefore I didn't copy the quotation marks, I just copied the text. The next line says print, enter the lower limit and the upper limit. Again, I'm just going to copy paste from the pseudocode into the program. Next line says read low from the keyboard. Whenever we see a read, we know at this point in our career we need a scanner object. We're not concerned about what that line of code does. We just copy it from a previous program, or we type it in out of our head. We haven't studied why it's there, what it's doing. We'll get to that point later, but for now it's just a copy paste. Again, I got the squiggle, so I hover, I select import. That makes the error go away. It brings in a copy of the scanner class definition for me, and it dragged this line of code into my program. The next thing it says to do is read low from the keyboard, so I say low equals in dot next int. Then it says read high from the keyboard, so I say high equals in dot next int. I only need one scanner object per program. I didn't declare two scanner objects. I used it twice. That works great. The next sign says loop forever, referring back to the pseudocode. Loop forever. Well, we have a construct to set up an infinite loop while true. That condition can never become false. True is always true. It never becomes false. That's looping forever. I can put a comment in there, which is always a good idea. Start an infinite loop. That tells whoever's reading my code that I knew what I was doing. I didn't do an infinite loop by mistake, which is possible. Next line of pseudocode, it says print, guess a number. I need a system.out.println, guess a number. I've been told that I skipped a bunch of things, and I skipped the part of the code where we generate the random numbers. Okay, I'll go back and I will put that in. Not a problem. Thank you for letting me know that. Generate a random number. Random r equals new random. That should look somewhat familiar because it's very similar syntax to what we did with the scanner object. We're creating a random number object that will generate random numbers for us. All modern languages have random number generators built in. They're very important for testing when you need data. Again, we got the squiggles, the same error that we got when we did the scanner object. It says random cannot be resolved to a type. The first option is to import the random class, which is exactly what we want. It adds this line of code. It brings in the scanner class or the random class. The next thing I do is put a value into my random number object, or random number variable, I guess. So I'm going to go random number if I can get my keyboard to work. Random number equals r dot next integer. That gives me a random number. This random number is unfortunately not going to be in the range that the user entered. They entered in high and low. It's going to be in a much larger range. Therefore, I need to loop until I get a number that's in that range. I'm going to wrap a loop around this while I already have the loop. Forget it. I'll use this loop. So here's my loop. While true. And then inside this loop, I'm going to say if random number is less than or equal to high and random number is greater than or equal to low, and I'm going to cheat on this syntax, watch. I'm going to say break. Let me make that a little bigger for you. If I get a number that's inside the high-low range, I'm going to execute a break. That break takes me out of this while loop. That's how I get out. And I need a curly brace right there. So this loop serves the purpose of generating that random number inside the range. That brings me in the pseudocode to the end of that first infinite loop. I have a number that's inside the range suggested by the user. It's between high and low. The pseudocode now says if we get this far, we have computed a random number that is within the range. I put a comment in the pseudocode. That comment is useful to me. I'm going to put it right here. At this point, we have a random number between high and low inclusive. I just added that comment to make the code more readable. Then referring back to the P code again, another infinite loop, loop forever. While true, inside the loop it says print guess a number. I've already got that when I got ahead of myself earlier. That's a good statement there. Next line, read the keyboard into guess. Okay, I declared guess up here at the top. I haven't done anything with it yet. Guess equals in dot next int. There's my guess. Pseudocode if guess equal random number. Exit the loop. If guess equal random number. The exit the loop statement is a break. Again, I'm going to cheat, so to speak. I'm not going to use curly braces. I'm just going to put the word break there. What we normally see, or what we sometimes see, is this, where it takes 3 lines of code to do what I can do in 1 line of code. And sometimes you'll work at a place where that's okay. Sometimes you'll work at a place where they prefer you to use the braces. You'll have to ask about that. But this is easy to understand. I don't think it's going to cause you any problems if you're careful, and we'll go with it. The next line of pseudocode says print. That's not it. In other words, if the random number was not guessed and we don't break out of the loop, we print a message saying you haven't guessed it yet. There's the bottom of that while loop. Very simple loop. It just continuously asks for numbers, compares the numbers with the random number, and checks to see if there's a match. Pseudocode. Underneath that loop, if we get that far, we broke out of the loop because we had a match. So if we get this far in the program, we've got a match. And again, I'm going to actually take this comment out of the pseudocode and copy it. And I'm going to paste it right there. If we get this far, the user guessed the number. Then I'm going to print a nice message, system.out.println, yay. Got it. There's the end of the program. So far so good. I don't see any squiggles. I don't have any syntax errors. Does it work? I don't know yet. I haven't tried it. Make sure I save it. Now it's time to test. Click the Run button. I can enter in an upper limit or lower limit of 1, upper limit of 5, make things easy on myself, not too many numbers to guess. Uh-oh, I got a problem. Shouldn't it be down to here by now? Oh, oh. Resume. While we were away, we realized that this loop is having a very difficult time computing a number between 1 and 10 or some other small range of numbers because these random numbers are between plus or minus 2 billion, the maximum and minimum values of a signed integer in Java. So, to solve that problem, we're going to put a number into the next int method of 1,000 that will guarantee me a number between 0 and 999. That will limit the range. That way I should get a result quicker, and I should be able to run this program before tomorrow. So 1 space 10 would be my lower limit and upper limit. Press enter. Good. So that time it worked because I told random to stop using that humongous range. Okay, my program has generated a random number between 1 and 10. I'm going to guess 5. This is a binary guessing game. You probably already realized if you keep guessing right in the middle, eventually you'll get the answer pretty quickly. I guess 5. That's not it. Now if this program was friendly, it would tell me whether I was too high or too low and I could figure this out. But I don't know if I'm too high or too low because my pseudocode does not include logic to tell me if I'm too high or too low. But if you look in the enhancements list, it says make the game more fun by printing high or low. We'll do that next. I'm kind of stuck. I'm just going to start guessing. 1. Okay, I got lucky. It was a 1. Now, is there a better way to test this? Well, not really. I can pick different ranges. So if I run it again, I can pick a range of 1 to 100. But now I'm stuck guessing from 1 to 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm already bored. I'm going to break out of that. And let's implement this change in the pseudocode. Let's implement make the game more fun by printing high or low to inform the user if their guess is too high or too low. It's a binary math problem. That's easy. We don't need to pseudocode that, he said confidently. We go into the guessing loop and we say if guess is less than random number, system.out.println too low. And then I'm going to copy paste that. Copy, paste. If guess is greater than random number, print too high. And I'm going to use braces, but watch this. I can put the braces on the same line as the statement. And again, I'm doing this because it just compacts the program a little bit. This is a style thing. This is my taste. I'm showing you different ways of laying out the code. When I run this, it should be a little more friendly, and I can illustrate that binary math scenario that I was talking about earlier. I'm going to go ahead and click run, and I'm going to say 1 to 1,000. Based on this range, I can predict how many guesses it will take me, because if I divide by 2 each time, it becomes a binary issue. So I'm going to go guess a number, 500, too high. Guess a number, 250, too high. Guess a number, 125, too high. Guess a number, what's half of 125? 63, close enough. Too low. I'm between 125 and 63. What's half of 63? 32, so I add 32 to 63 and I get 95. Too low. So I'm between 125 and 95. That's a range of 15. So I add 15 to 95 and I get 105. Still too low. Now I'm between 105 and 125. What's half of that range? 7. Put in 112. Too low. Now I'm between 112 and 125. That's 13, so half of that is 7. 119. Oh, wow, I got it. That's how that works. It's just guessing right in the middle of the range, and eventually you'll hit it.